the stream, I want to address that the title, right, Contrapoints as a conservative, is meant to be provocative. I do know that Contrapoints is left-leaning to a degree, but I do think that, and I'm sure she believes in, like, you know, communism to an extent, but, like, overall, I believe her views are social democratic, and I think in her lifetime, she is willing to take less radical. She wants to opt to take less radical approaches and less revolutionary approaches to social progress, building a revolutionary society. You know, she wants to take more conservative efforts. But, you know, I'm not gonna take away from, like, a lot of the good work that she's done on critiquing the right, the far right, etc. But at the same time, you know, you could say the same about Destiny, who is an unapologetic capitalist liberal. You know, he did, like, with the JonTron thing, I thought that was good work that he did, along with, like, just debating far-right people, kind of, like, breaking it down. I think it's, like, good. I think it's good, basically. But, in the end, he doesn't believe in working towards making a better society. So, okay, so I don't want to, before I go off into a tangent, so I'm streaming to, like, air my thoughts out. I'm here playing Bloodborne just as, like, a vehicle to fiddle my fingers around as I talk, which I like to do. I think I have ADHD, so, yeah. Who knows if I'm going to actually play anything, rather than just watch me mindlessly do this. Give or take, if I just mindlessly do this, I might as well get to the point. Okay, so Contrapoints is envy video. So, it's... a few people have already done a good takedown of it. Haz from Infrared, despite me disagreeing with Haz on most things, due to him being, like, a tanky, like, he's not just a Leninist, he's, like, a tanky, and, like, you know, pro-Dangus and stuff, pro-Dang, but his video, reacting to the Contrapoints envy video is pretty spot on. Like, I think one of my favorite takeaways is his response to when Natalie said that, like, we should be attacking billionaires instead of millionaires. It's so fucking hilarious and so transparent of the type of class of Natalie defending her own class interests. And and because Natalie takes like the other videos, Natalie gets like $200,000 or something dollars a month. Natalie is a millionaire. If you look at her Patreon subscriptions, it's like 13,000 or more patrons, and each of them are donating, like, a varying amount of value, but you can estimate between $5 to $10 for at least like 80% of that. And so you can take like 13,000 or 15,000, however many patrons she has. You know what, I'm gonna look it up right now. Multiply that, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot more money than my family has ever made in our lifetime. So let's see, Contrapoints Patreon. And yeah, 13,770 patrons. I don't know if she's ever gotten sponsored. It's been a while. Like, this is the envy video is the last video that I saw from Natalie. So, but yeah, on top of that, like YouTube ad revenue and stuff. So yeah, it seems that with this video, I think people have been calling out. Like, I think this video was also in response to like, besides like her own growing wealth, I think it's also a response to the attacks that Lindsay Ellis was getting after her riot tweet, and then after the and I kind of like Lindsay Ellis's it's like a soft apology. It's like an apology for the stuff that she said in the past, rape jokes, racist stuff, ableism, stuff like that. But also her standing her ground and critiquing Raya, which I think, if you want my quick take on that, I think Lindsay. I haven't seen Raya, but I don't think I need to see Raya to know that it could easily fall into that trope of that Last Airbender trope, right? But I think whether it is inappropriate to say it or not, I think it's mostly like I guess it was a little inappropriate, and it's just mostly sad that AZN, you know, Asian American media or Asian diaspora media could always be better. And Raya just couldn't live it up. But I haven't seen Raya. I'm sure it's fucking amazing. But anyways, a lot of you can see a lot of the hate that Lindsay Ellis was getting. It spilled over into Lindsay Ellis's friends. So it was who was the one, the girl who broke down Vampire Diaries, I forget her name, and Contrapoints, and a bunch of others. And people were like, yeah, like fuck all these white women who, you know, with these like shitty media critiques and stuff, right? Like they have a communications degree, now they think they're like entitled to everything. I think like I read some of those tweets, and a lot of those just, you could say there's a tone of envy and spite, and depending on which side you're on, it could be like cringy and kind of pathetic to look at. But or on the other side, you can wholeheartedly agree, and just, you can, through reading these tweets, you know, your own fuel, your own spite towards these creators is heightened. It's amplified, or it's fueled. It's reinforced. For me, my take is that, so I do have my own positions, right? But like it's, let's say in regards to like Lindsay Ellis, right? The Lindsay L Situation. I already shared mine, mostly. I think I'm on the side of Lindsay Ellis on this, but at the same time, I don't, I'm not gonna like bash sort of like people's own personal agendas in shitting on Lindsay Ellis, because like more or less I could care less, and should probably charge my controller, and because I think what's to hurt other voices from because it was a lot, mostly non-white people on Twitter that were attacking Lindsay Ellis. I mean, a lot of right-wingers too were saying, "See, I told you so, Lindsay Ellis. You advocate cancel culture, you're gonna get canceled." Like, irrelevant. Right-wing critiques irrelevant. Or right-wingers critiques, but like, we could. I don't mind the space for like, if Lindsay Ellis, basically if Lindsay Ellis goes, I don't mind. And I understand where some people are coming from, if they're coming from a more personal place. So, back to Contrapoints. Besides Has, you also had Bad Empanadas. I just watched it like on my way home. I was in DC earlier. I just watched it, and he probably has my favorite takedown of it. And he and I shared the strange apologism and defense of Marie Antoinette, because it's like, who the fuck cares if she was mostly just a hedonist, like grifting off of the royal family? I don't think so at all. But regardless, like, who the fuck, like, why are you, like, who the, like, why are you fucking, like, oh my god, like, it's fucking Marie Antoinette. She's living off of that wealth. Like, okay, like, she's like, you know, she came from more humbler roots or some shit like that. Honestly, I forgot about Marie Antoinette, right? Like, it was just so weird, like, she's living off of the wealth of the royal family. Her hedonistic, right? Nothing wrong with hedonism, but it's hedonism that is very, like, lavish and indulgent in its own wealth, right? And, like, it's just so weird. And why I'm defending hedonism is because I think working class, proletarian, like, just non-bourgeois or non, like, aristocratic class people also can be hedonistic and develop their own hedonistic culture, right? But yeah, okay. It's so weird, and you know where I think this has a connection to the attacks that Grimes has been getting. Okay, somebody joined. Somebody made a comment, so that means I have to check my YouTube channel, read through comments. So this better not be a right-winger. Okay, it's Neil. Oh, hello, Neil. Hi. Of course, yeah. Hope work is going well. Hope your shift goes smooth. And, you know, I'm just ranting. You're not gonna see a whole lot of gameplay. I'm just gonna be me running around in the hunter's dream. Just, y'all like my outfit? Okay, anyways. So, okay, back to the point I was saying. I think Contrapoints is, I think Natalie's defense of Marie Antoinette is a soft defense, or just a straight up defense of Grimes, okay? Natalie did not directly bring up Grimes, but Grimes has been getting shit on for similar reasons. For pretty good, and the thing is, a lot of Grimes' biggest critics are women, are femmes, and I think and it's not coming from a place of envy. It's like, oh, I like, you know, like, fuck Grimes, you know, like, you know, she gets to have, like, she gets to have the top tier sugar daddy or whatever. Those types, right? I'm pretty sure they're praising Grimes. They're like, yeah, girl, go get your money up, you know, get that, you know, you get that rich South African dick and bag. Like, I'm a lot of people, such as myself, right? But I think I could speak for the women, who I would say are mostly who are okay, sorry, are the women. They're attacking her because she's being a fucking hypocrite. She is Grimes, who there's that tweet. There's a very, very popular tweet and a very popular subtweet. The tweet is, once I get this money, I'm gonna drop all that socialism shit. You know, like, I'm gonna be like, I'm over this. Like, once I chase that bag, I'm over that socialist shit. The subtweet says Grimes in a nutshell, or something like that. Like, Grimes, like, this is Grimes when she married Elon Musk. People are critiquing Grimes on a, I would say, material basis, and and I'm sorry, it's the ridiculousness of this situation. And it's so weird that Grimes is just trying to clap back. She's just trying to clap back, like, oh, you know, okay, I have a message to the communists, or like, let me tell you, like, who's like good for the environment and is like an actual progressive, right? And then she's like being like her husband's cheerleader. So fucking weird. And you know, Grimes has a history of this. Has a history of grifting off the left. You should look at the and just treating people like shit, treating left-leaning people, progressive people, marginalized people like shit. You know, mostly like leftist artists. She has a history. I can only speak for one. One of my favorite music groups. One of my favorite music groups, electronic music groups, ever, was Elite Gymnastics. And one of the members, Jamie Brooks, she was in a relationship with Grimes, and Jamie Brooks also did a lot of, I would say, unpaid work for Grimes, such as making a music video. Jamie Brooks, she credited herself as Rococo's Basilisk, I think, in some, like, there's a music video that Grimes is in, and the credit goes to Rococo's Basilisk, or some other name, or just Rococo. And so, if you can just look it up. I think it's an Ask Me Anything of Jamie Brooks, or somebody, it's like in a Grimes subreddit, and it's Jamie Brooks, like, recounting her experience with Grimes, and she was shitty. Like, Grimes said that, like, Grimes said that Jamie was like a fucking problem, like got in her way of like her success or some shit. Like if you look at it, Jamie was trying to be a little apologetic to Grimes, because Grimes was like, you know, she defended her as like one of the top most interesting pop electronic music artists at the time, which is like early 2010s. And I would agree to an extent, you know, at least mostly on an aesthetic level. And she does have some bangers. Grimes does have some bangers, but it's like Oblivion and Visions, or I don't know, like My Heart Will Not Look Me, and then I forgot that song, but anyways, but yeah, Grimes has a history of like purporting to have, like, you know, support leftist shit, progressive shit, but just totally just contradicts them, and like marrying Elon Musk and stuff like that. And yeah, I would say she's a grifter. So I would say, I think back to Contrapoints, I think Contrapoints is like who the fuck else would you compare Marie Antoinette in pop culture, right? And like it's fucking Grimes. And I think what is it? Kim Kardashian is brought up. Grimes, I'm sorry. Natalie brings up Kim Kardashian in the video, but I don't think that's like a accurate comparison, because even though, yeah, Kim Kardashian, she did like kind of come from nothing in a sense. I mean, like, or out of nowhere. She was just like came from a rich family, but like pretty unknown, right? But her wealth was still there. Like, it's not. I don't think it's a good comparison. So I think a lot of the shit that Grimes gets is close to Contrapoints, like defending Marie Antoinette. Okay. Anyways, so I made some points. I wrote, like, after. So I should say I had a mental breakdown after watching the Envy video. I legit had a mental breakdown. A few other friends can speak for me, because envy is something that I struggled with for a long time. It's a very debilitating feeling. Like, you feel so, like, at least in my life, like it just, you feel it physically. You feel it, and it's really, really embarrassing. Like, if not the feeling itself and like the feeling of inferiority, it's the embarrassment that consumes you, and it's like a cycle. I've learned to just let it happen, but I've also learned how to displace my envy. Enough about me. So, but if you want to, like, I don't think I'm alone in being very uncomfortable. Maybe to my extent, I don't know, but a lot of people, it seems like, are uncomfortable with this Contrapoints video. And I don't know why. Here, I'm trying to pull up the notes, but I think it was strong for me because envy is a very strong feeling for me. Okay, so I wrote this down. It was August 21st. Sorry, August 16, 2021. I wrote, against the soft reactionary narrative by the likes of Contrapoints, where envy is an unproductive or self-defeating realm for social change. Because I think it is. I think it is reactionary. Reactionaries always use this. Even Natalie admitted it. Reactionaries are always using envy and stuff like that as a critique towards the left. And the thing is, Natalie agrees with a few exceptions, which is like, oh, you know, like I'm not, and Natalie's fucking excuse or explanation for that is like, oh, you know, I'm not like those conservatives like where like getting healthcare and free healthcare and education is being envious, you know. I'm not like that, but you know, like desiring like wealth and stuff like that, like, yeah, like that's, you know, that's like, it's like an unproductive envy, and it's just gonna breed resentment, and then, you know, you're just gonna like kill people without like anything productive, which is so fucking it's stupid. It reminds me of it reminds me of Walter Benjamin's I think it's transcendent violence or divine violence, where it's a violence that's born out of it's a lot more complex, but it's like a violence that's like born out of like this like survival of like this there's a comparison about like when a Palestinian is like when a Palestinian who is constantly under the boot of an IDF soldier decides to like lash back and kill them, right? It's like this, it's this like rage, right? There's this rage inside them where it's not just like on a personal basis. It's like a wide social, like you feel the world, you feel kind of history coming to you, but not in like a egotistical way, right? Where like, oh, like I'm like, you know, I'm like, clenching the fist of like I'm throwing the fist of history. It's just like you feel the weight of your fellow people, right? Fellow Palestinians, just through that, like through striking that IDF soldier and killing them, or you know, maybe not killing them, but like, you know, and just violently attacking back. And there's a divine violence there, and there's like a, not just like a higher calling or something like higher that makes you react that way, but like on a personal, like individual level. But it's just, I'm not saying, it's like you're not just speaking for yourself when you like lash back. And I think like the French, I'm still learning about the French Revolution, but I'm pretty sure the peasants or just the French revolutionaries are completely entitled into killing Marie Antoinette. Besides the reasons I listed previously, like living off their wealth. Sorry, I need to put my controller down. Besides like living off the wealth of like the royal family, right? The French aristocrat. Like, there's a symbolic level to it too. Like, holy fuck, it's not like you're just attacking, like, it's not like they're just attacking some like baker who happens to have some like royalist sentiments, right? Like maybe there's like a well-off baker. I don't know. I heard people were like fucking starving during the French Revolution, but like, you know, there's like some well-off baker who still has like royalist views. You know, it's not like you're just attacking them. It's fucking Marie Antoinette. like, oh my god, like, it's just so fucking weird. Okay, so I'm gonna read what I wrote again, because there's a second paragraph that I left out before I went off again. Against the soft reactionary against the soft reactionary narrative by the likes of Contrapoints, where envy is an unproductive or self-defeating realm for social change, envy towards quote-unquote fellow working class is an aspect of class society. Shying away from it or dismissing it is counterproductive. Dismissing envy is counterproductive because it is these things that fuel resentments towards capitalism and facilitate inspiration to think and act on a class-conscious level. It's these experiences and emotions as part of the total experience, the miserable experience under capitalism, is why class must be abolished. Envy is, it's a part of class consciousness. Like those emotions, those feelings, it's a part of class consciousness. People make out Marx to be this very like rigid, quote-unquote empirical, absolutely fucking not, like objective, quote-unquote, like you know, I see, like I agree with Haz on this shit. Like using like terms like objective and empirical, like throwing that shit out, it is really this Anglo-box condescension. I believe in I do believe in the Anglo-box. I'm not a tanky, I'm not a Dangus, I'm not a Leninist or whatever like that. Although recently I have been wanting to revisit Lenin, but I completely agree with him that the Anglo-box is real. I just don't think that it's like I just don't think that like the way that Haz uses it is so, he throws it around a lot to where it's like just using it as like a counter defend like Chinese capitalism is weird. It's weird. But anyways, enough of the Haz. Yeah, it's stuff like that. Like, you know, that's not Marx. Marx was also a romantic. You need like oh man, who is that guy? He's a German scholar of Marx, the Neue Marx. Neue Marx Lektur. Who's this guy? Michael Heinrich. Michael Heinrich. He goes into that. He's a guy who's doing like a deep critical rereading of Marx. I think it's really cool. I haven't gone back to it in a while, but I think it's really cool. But okay. Anyways, so my point of that saying is that envy is a part of the experience. You know, just like there's to try to deny romantic feelings out of like a desire for a better society, for revolution, is pretty stupid. You cannot keep using like this performance or aesthetic, either one, or if it's the same, of objectivity, of empiricalism, of rationalism, and logicalism, like how conservatives do. You cannot, like, emotions are an important part of the experience of class society, of like the side of living, and so thus a part of, so like, is emotion not like a part of living in class society? Like are we to just deny our emotions? No, of course. It's about using those emotions and displacing them towards or like, let's see, because I'm trying not to sound like Contrapoints here, but displacing it towards something like productive or effective. But how Contrapoint sees it, she pathologizes envy, in that, oh, we need to put, she dismisses it as like not being like, not opening a realm for quote unquote productive conversation and building a better society. So how I see using envy as in a productive quote unquote sense, in a revolutionary sense, is you keep on going through with it. You're unapologetic about it. You do not falter. You do not let your envy be an isolated feeling. You reach out to others who feel the same way. You can confide and share in those feelings of envy with other like-minded people, with other people who who can see through the bullshit of living in class society, and way past their usefulness, bread tubers like Philosophy Tube, Vaush, Contrapoints, maybe even Hassan. I haven't caught up with Hassan ever since the mansion thing, but I will. That's how you make it productive. You know, you do not let that feeling of envy falter. You don't let it falter. You let it fuel you. You let it keep you fighting for, and it strengthens your resolve. It if you think I sound evil in this respect, you're in the wrong fucking fight, and you need to, it's not evil. I don't think it's evil, but I'm getting flashbacks of when I was hanging out with like a leftcom Discord group, and there's one guy who like enjoyed like evil shit happening, like he enjoyed like toxicity happening in like this Discord, right? I was like, what the fuck? That's not like it's no, like I don't want to build toxicity. I want to build movements. I want to see movements, at least, you know. If I'm too much of a fucking bum to get off my ass, I want to at least see that, and at least I can speak my word. Well, okay. I don't know. I don't know. I'm being harsh on myself like that, because I do think dialoguing and, you know, networking and stuff like that, just talking, that's part of building a movement, but it's not on the ground. But anyways, yeah, you let that strengthen your resolve. You know, you hold on. You know, and you channel that into rather than shouting into a void like Twitter. You know, you hold on to that conviction from that envy, and you dominate your opponents. You overcome them, you know, through clever means, through more tactical means, right? Rather than just like spitting fire and not being sure that you'll hit your target. Yeah, you let it strengthen your resolve. So a lot of those people, myself included, okay, so if I were to find what that looks like in my life, I'm gonna stop. I unsubscribed to Contrapoints. I'm gonna stop watching her videos. I feel, after watching this, I feel more motivated to do my own reading, my own studying. Something that I've always reinforced and sort of like try to drive into the heads of my friends, or friend. Shouts out to you, Toma, aka the Green Goblin on Bloodborne. Is that we need to move past BreadTube. I hope this video, right? If you feel upset with this video, this Contrapoint video, I hope this is time for you to decouple yourself from BreadTube, and please, like what Marx said in the Communist Manifesto, you know, or communists will I'm going to be butchered, but they all write down, you know, they make their own pamphlets, they make their own manifestos, they make their own letters, they write their own thoughts on how to build a class society. You know, you become proactive in building your own vision of a better world, and building your own movements, building your own networks, building your own fundamentals, your own reality, right? Moving, like, stop having this parasocial relationship with BreadTube, with people like Contrapoints, right? Like, it's time to, you're not a quote unquote baby leftist. You're not a baby fucking leftist. You are a human being. You're not a comrade. You're a human being, right? You don't need to keep, you know, at the same time, side note, you don't need to keep showing this false sense of solidarity with like so and so comrades. You know, it's about you, right? It's about you. People keep on talking about like how, like, it's like building a collective movement and stuff like that. Communism is about like building on the collective. It is to communism where we can enjoy being an individual more, right? We can enjoy our own space, right? I think individualism is strengthened even more through communism. Why? Because everything works out, right? Um, everything, everything works out. There's that Zija quote that I like where it's like, I don't want to keep, I don't want to be in a direct democracy type of society. I just want to, read my books, write my books, and just read philosophy, whatever, right? And everything is running. There's like a bureaucracy that goes on. I think we can think beyond past bureaucracy, but essentially, I think like technology can help work out our essential needs and desires, and we get to, like people seem to forget that like we get to do like our own work. We get to do like, what we want to do, what we want to aspire to. And okay, anyways, I don't want to get into that discussion, but that's the point I'm trying to make. We move beyond this parasocial relationship with red tubers. Hassan Piker included. I need to stop watching Hassan Piker. When I defended me watching Hassan Piker, I saw him as like a left-wing Joe Rogan. Other people can say the same thing. He was entertaining. And it's comforting that I can be entertained by someone who is not like a dumbass centrist and that will not have totally stupid takes. Hassan has made some stupid takes before, and I would watch him like, dude, like what the fuck? This guy's on me. Like, but overall, like I liked watching the Chad porn, as I call it, like him like impressing women and stuff like that. There's a weird kind of weird type of like enjoyment out of entertainment out of watching that. But also he was a kind of a source of news as well, and I didn't have to like listen to cringe ass liberal takes. Even though Hassan, you can lump him into that, but I think it'd be weird to totally lump into that. Maybe not, but it's different, right? But there's at some point where I just it's debilitating towards my own intellectual pursuits and journey, my intellectual journey, and creative journey as well, of like reading, doing my own reading, doing my own studying and stuff like that. So something I did do, I guess over the past month, is me and Toma, again shouts out to the Green Goblin, and for one instance our friend Nathan Brown, shouts out to Nathan Brown, aka Spooky Goth Dad. We read articles about the working class situation in China from Lausan, LAUSAN.HK, and Chuang, CHUANG.CN, who they are. Some people call them. And I think there's one more. There's one more. I can't think of it right now, but they like some people say they're like left comm and stuff like that. But they're critical of capitalism from the Chinese experience, from mainland Chinese experience, and they've also have some articles in Hong Kong and stuff. They have friends in Hong Kong, and we read articles about in Shenzhen you have a lot of phone factories there, and how the situation for migrant workers, so workers from the rural parts of China, who are almost an artificial class of expendable labor, to work in these smartphone factories, and the experience of them. There's a very sardonic TikTok challenge that they did. It is TikTok, but it went by another name, called Lift the Bucket, because migrant workers, they would come to the bed and boarding of these factories, of these work sites, with buckets and their toiletries, their essentials, passports, licenses, work permits, etc. And Lift the Bucket was like how fast till you find a new job challenge. There's also a really funny one, Lift the Bucket challenge, where there's a guy who he didn't work at the factory, but he like stayed in the bed and board and like ate like the free lunch for as long as he can. So it was like how long, like it was like any percent speed run, like till like I get kicked off the premises type thing. Like it was kind of funny. I think this is Trump. But yeah, I was reading articles like that, and this is the shit we should be reading. We should be reading. We should be getting in touch. We should be getting in touch. Like, cause communism is an international movement. Revolution should be an international act. One thing I really enjoy from a good, like, one thing I agree with, like, left comms, for example, is that the Russian Revolution fell because the German Revolution fell. That's why Lenin developed his pessimism, and that's why like the whole, like, that's why you see Lenin's writings become more reactionary over time towards the end of his life. Maybe reactionary is a bad word, but it was like a compromise. It was very compromising because the situation was dire. It was defeatism, I think. Right? It was him attempting to compromise with like defeatism. Yeah. Sorry, I say a lot. But anyways, what I agree with left comms is that revolution is international, okay? And we need to get in touch, right? Like, we need to break this artificial boundary between China and the U.S. Build networks with Chinese workers, Chinese proletarians in the modern day. And I think, like, it's gonna be way more productive. You know what would be more productive is if TikTok kids who usually watch BreadTube, they start watching Chinese TikTok. And Chinese TikTok, especially from the perspective of the left. So more people like watching challenges from the same people that do the lift the bucket challenge, lift your bucket challenge, or whatever it's called. That would be more productive than fucking watching BreadTube. Oh my god, like, so back to Natalie, back to Contrapoints. The whole fucking, like, we need to start attacking billionaires, not millionaires. That's just masked off. That's just completely masked off. Like, oh my god, like, this is the like, I haven't kept up with Contrapoints in a while. This is the most masked off, most conservative video that Contrapoints has ever made. So before the Envy video even came out, there's a really good video by Lightwrites, LITWRITES, called Envy Your Icon, Contrapoints and Audience Alienation. People got envious of Contrapoints because it seems that she was very self-indulgent in her videos, right? It seemed that her videos, like the kind of like the entertainment value in her videos, which are meant to be an aesthetic draw to typical non-leftist audiences, right? And it was using humor as a sort of tool. Like, you have like the cat, the leftist cat, like cat girl, and then like you have like the sort of like left liberal, like trad looking girl, are having a dialogue. Those are dialogues that people who were stuck in their politics on how to make sense of the world, and Natalie too. Like, the humor of that, it was meant to be engaging, right? The aesthetic of that, the humor of that, the production value of that was meant to make things more engaging, but it was like coming from a very like serious place as well. Over time, Natalie has just gotten overindulgent with her aesthetics, and I think going, oh man, I need water. Going to that Reddit post where that Natalie was addressing about, like, why do I feel so envious about Natalie? Like, it's just coming from nowhere. I know exactly where that person's coming from. Like, envy is just like this. It's like this. You feel possessed. It's like where's it coming from? And envy usually comes from, it comes, like, the feeling of it comes from when you feel like somebody who, and this is why envy is very strong in the rap game, in rap music. There's a really good video of Lil Boosie talking about envy, where it's literally like life-threatening. And Natalie went into that as well, right, with the Evil Eye, the Nazar. But it's so, like, consuming. You feel possessed. That's why I was going to, it was a physical feeling too. You feel it physically. And I think it's like, and it comes from like people you think you can relate with having a bit more success, or you feel like they've left you, they betrayed you, to move on from people you thought were different, right? Maybe they were higher than you, but you felt like you had something over them. Maybe there's a subculture you engage in. Maybe there's something that you know that they don't, right? And I think this Redditor, right, that Natalie addresses, feels like where it's coming from, where that envy comes from, is that she feels that Natalie has turned away from them, right? Maybe turned away from other trans women, or just trans people in general. And this Redditor, bless her soul, bless their soul, I forgot what their gender was, but bless their soul, they couldn't articulate that Natalie may have turned her backs on them. And like, you could say it's also that, like, Natalie has oh, you know, she has money to be more passing and stuff like that. But I also think, and people are like, and those are things to celebrate, but at the same time, over the years, there's this culture of that, if you're like, it's like we should be celebrating each other, right? But it's kind of that type of take has really consumed. It's like, it's a very liberal and girl boss take, honestly. Like, why? Like, we need to be celebrating these marginalized people, you know? Like, what the heck? We need to celebrate like Kamala Harris, you know? She's like the first black woman vice president. Yada yada yada. I think you can say that towards like social democrats too. Like what the hell? Like I don't think every trans person has to fucking celebrate their fellow trans person, you know, if they're like doing well or something. Like, I think like envy is not just like, it's healthy and normal, and I think but it's not just that, you know, it's not just a feeling of a hollow, vain feeling that ends there. It comes from something else, and it's a class struggle. Now, okay, Contrapoints is not fucking Jeff Bezos. Sorry, that I worded that wrong. I say fucking as a okay, sorry. Contrapoints is not Jeff Bezos. She's not like a shareholder or anything. I don't know, maybe she is, but she's not on like a huge ass level of like yeah. Anyways, you know, she's not that bourgeoisie. She's not that kind. But she still is benefiting from class society, because class society allows her to have more money and others don't. Even though she is not that bourgeoisie, she's still a have, right? In terms of a haves and have-nots, she still haves, which is why it's part of the total class experience. You know, it is class society that allows her to be like this, right? And like it's part of it's like envying that is a part of the class experience. It is part of what drives people to be more class conscious. It is what drives people to be more revolutionary, because they're fucking tired of people. They're tired of haves and have-nots. Like, fuck. Like, this is what people must have felt like when they're shitting on Karl Kautsky. Oh my god, like... And it's so condescending when Natalie is like, you know, I commend this person for like not totally like for not totally like butt blasting me What? I got a text. Oh. Okay. Anyways, sorry. For not totally, like, oh, I commend this Redditor for not totally butt blasting me, you know, and she was like very self-aware, and you know, she was very self-aware of like herself, and she was kind of like letting those feelings in. It seems to her, well, when you read it, especially from like my perspective and other people's perspective, perhaps, it seems that envy is a foreign feeling. It's a weird feeling. Like, it's not just like, oh, like I'm self-aware, like I feel guilty, like is that what you really want? You want this person to feel guilty for their envy? Is that what you want? Because, like, I think if I were to sum up this envy video, Contrapoints didn't contribute anything besides some interesting, historical sources and insights and philosophical like insights from philosophers on envy, right? Like, they had their own little takes, which was interesting, but in terms of the context of envy in general, especially if Contrapoints is responding to current events, changing events, and stuff like that, it's not that. She's not being fucking like self-aware or something, or she's working to be that, because it's not just that, right? She's not she is just confused on this feeling. She's struggling to articulate. It's because envy is suffocating. She's suffocating under this feeling. But it comes from a genuine place. Like, sorry, I went off. How I could sum up Natalie's video, right? It's a conservative take on envy in politics with a few social democratic defenses towards the end. And it falls so short of an actual critical analysis of envy. It's so dismissive. This is, and what I loved about Has from Infrared, his take on it. I was watching that video with my friend with Toma. Shouts out to Toma the Green Goblin. What I was I was like shouting and jeering as I was watching. It's like, I was like, yeah, right? When Has is like, you want to be a conservative now? I can be more conservative than you. I can be more conservative than you, Contrapoints. We'll go into the fucking rural areas and recruit like the most like conservative, like God-fearing people for a revolutionary movement, just like Mao did, right? Mao, you know, like the peasants were some of the most conservative and superstitious class or group social class in China during the Chinese Civil War, and Mao recruited them during a time where Mao's rivals or competitors or whatever, you know, his Mao's mutual ops, right? Ops in arms, were saying like, oh, we need to like radicalize the urban poor more, or just like the urban and the intellectual more. Right? But they weren't offering anything. They were way too cushy in their own like living situation. And I was like, all right, like I think it was like, I forgot what Has said. I think he said like the urban were like more like on a material, they were more reactionary because they were like too like comfortable in their living situation. But yeah, it's like, okay, we're gonna fucking recruit the peasants. Now, I don't agree with Has in the context of America with that, because I don't want American Strasserism, because that's what it'll look like, American Strasserism. Maybe recruiting from Latino and Black American proletarians, right, undocumented proletarians. I think that I can lean more towards that, but not towards American Strasserism. Like you want old American. Do you want the Democratic Party from the late 1800s? That which you know, you could call that. You can honestly call that American Strasserism. You had a lot of white populists, right, who were thinking of class. You know, they were thinking of class, but they were also the same ones perpetuating about how white liberals are like weaponizing blacks, or white progressives, white liberals. They lump them all together, or weaponizing black Americans for their own bourgeois ends, right? You know, very old, you know, that's also tied with anti-Semitism, where it's like, oh, the Jews are manipulating black people for their own ends and stuff like that. I mean, we had that, right? We had like white Strasserism. That was the Democratic Party for a long time, right? Democratic Party was a populist party for a long time, but it was a white populist party for a long time. Even though it's historically is white populist, historically populist, it was racist white populist. But anyways, I digress, sort of. Yeah, I agree. I don't agree with Haas on all of that, right? I don't want American Strasserism, but the point, like that's kind of like it was a nice own on Natalie. Like, you want to be if you want to be conservative, Natalie, go on fucking ahead. You know, you're gonna have people like, you're gonna have Maoists and Mao Zedong, you know, MZT people, Leninists, etc. You're gonna have, you know, they can be way more conservative than you, right? Which is scary. And, you know, this is another problem with my problem with BreadTube. You're going to have people who are salty about this, and you're going to have people who are on the fence of, like, Leninism and, like, being a social democrat. A lot of Hassan Piker's viewers are like this, right? They never go full, like, ML or anything. Or full tanky. I think if BreadTube is going to keep disappointing like this, you're going to have more Leninists like this. You're going to have more MLs. You're going to have more tankies. You're going to have more of these vanguardist types, right? And you're gonna have more people that are just like who drown themselves in the aesthetics of revolution more, but will answer to whatever credible vanguardist revolutionary like threat, I don't know, whatever, or faction that will use that energy, because Leninists and or at least like MLs, right, and tankies, they are not shy to using dishonest tactics, right? They like agitprop. That's a very that's, you know, they like to use that. But my problem is that you don't have people like Haz who make good takedowns and good responses to like Contrapoints and BreadTube. And they're gonna go to them, and then these fuckers are gonna like think John Jerka was a good guy, like, and fuck, like that's the danger there. Man. Anyways, that's most of the thoughts. Please leave a comment in the main comment section if you wanna discuss this more. I'll probably get into it more sometime later. Anyways. Goodbye.